Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My Two Cent video for this week, for the week of August 22nd to the 28th, my Nintendo/gaming video, My Two Cent video. And we got 4 stories to cover for this week, including more controversy against Activision and Blizzard, this time with some allegations of them possibly destroying evidence over the current lawsuit that they're facing right now. Some information regarding Gamescom's 2021, at least on the opening side, ranging from Xbox to what was shown at basically their opening night, though. One of what many consider the most controversial game out there, or on the same level as the other controversial game, Hatred, Postal. Apparently a new game is coming out, and believe it or not, it's going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Plus, we also have information about Halo Infinite in terms of some features being delayed and answers being into why certain mode, the campaign mode, hasn't been shown off yet, though. If you're interested in where I got some of this information, all the links will be in the description of where I found some of these stories and so forth. But before we get started, why don't we do what I like to call the quick My Two Cents. Stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details, though. The first one is to point out is that the designer of the NES and the Super NES here in the West, though, or in the US, though, is retiring from Nintendo after being there for almost 40 years, which is pretty amazing, though, to be there for that long and all. And I know some people think that the NES and Super NES looks ugly and all. I mean, I can understand to some extent, but at the same time, it has its own charm and all. So, either way, best of luck for the person who designed the NES and Super NES. Hopefully, whatever his next venture is, hopefully it turns out very well, though. We also learned that supposedly rapper Soulja Boy claimed that he owned Atari, but Atari has sort of shot back saying that's not true, and supposedly Soulja Boy isn't very happy, though. I mean, he's been trying to get into gaming and all that, and the whole thing has not sit well, ranging from the Soldier console to, well, let's just say a lot of stuff that, in a way, has kind of made him a bit of a laughing stock, at least in terms of the gaming side and all that stuff. We also learned about the trailer for Call of Duty Vanguard, and apparently there are reports coming out that Activision's logo is not on the trailer, and many are speculating that the possibility could be because of the whole controversy that is basically what they're facing right now, including this whole lawsuit from California, my home state, over the allegations of how they're treating some of their employees, particularly their female employees and all. So apparently there's the possibilities that they they want this game to go out very well despite the controversy, and maybe taking their logo out, it would help, though. And they're claiming it's a creative decision, although not everyone is buying that argument, to be exact. We also learned that Sakurai has teased possibly of what could be the next Smash Brothers character, and one of the things it showed one of the characters falling in lava with the thumbs up, which is almost kind of a reference to the ending from Terminator 2 Judgment Day, but many are now speculating the possibility that it could be maybe a character from Fortnite, to the possibility that Doom Guy may actually end up in Super Smash Brothers, the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, though. Now, we haven't heard anything official at this time, though, but it would be really interesting if that does happen, though. I mean, it would be really neat to see if Doom Guy makes it in, although I think Garrett from The Witcher would be an excellent choice. At least that's my pick, though, but time will tell if that truly happens or not. We also learned that Monster Hunter Rise will be getting a new update, though. This time, Akuma, if I'm saying his name correctly, from the Street Fighter series will be in this game. It's sort of their collaboration for Monster Hunter Rise, though. The Monster Hunter Rise does with other Capcom franchise. I think they did this with Okami, so we got another character from Capcom's franchise making its way into Monster Hunter's Rise, though. I am curious if we'll see other characters like, say, Mega Man, or even maybe like Strider, for that matter. That would be interesting if that happens, though. We also learned that basically Assassin's Creed Odyssey, at least on the Xbox Series S and X and the PS5, will be getting a next-gen update, which will have the game run at 60 FPS, which is definitely nice indeed, though. It would be nice if they could offer that update for Assassin's Creed Origins. That would be really great if they could do that, though. So, really nice that Ubisoft is doing that, though, even though some of their approaches to Assassin's Creed is sort of hit and miss. Their next game, though, there's been some debate about the direction they're going, considering their constant push for live services and all. And last but not least, though, we just had some new trailers come out. Some of them came out a month ago, but apparently a lot of them have been catching some attention. We've seen some like Shang-Chi, if I'm saying the name correctly, and the Legends of the Ten Rings. That one looks really nice, though. The Eternal trailer definitely looks nice, but the big one that's got people's attention is the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, though. That's the one that a lot of people have keeping an eye out because of the fact that we're seeing basically the actor who played Dr. Octavius to possibly the Green Goblin from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie make an appearance in it, though. So it's really neat. It's opening up the whole multiverse approach, and it's going to be really interesting to see how much of the multiverse they're going to talk about, because we know the sequel to Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse, assuming that's the name, though. And it would be really interesting if this opens the door to maybe characters like, say, Spider-Gwen or any other characters from the multiverse making their way into the MCU. So, really neat trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. Looking forward to all three of these Marvel movies when they come out in theaters, I believe, during the holidays / fall and all. Okay, with the quick My 2 cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the situation surrounding Halo Infinite. Now, Halo Infinite Halo in general is basically Microsoft's bread and butter. Halo is to Microsoft what Mario is to Nintendo, Nintendo in general, though. And one of the games that was supposed to come out last year with the launch of the Xbox Series X and S was supposed to be Halo Infinite, though. But when the first trailer showed off, the campaign trailer, let's just say the response was not met with expectations. Some of it was also based off the visuals, which didn't look exactly great. And when the criticism came in, Microsoft made what was considered to be an extremely tough decision, or controversial, and that is to delay the game till next year, though. And that was kind of surprising for a lot of people, because you're not going to have this big launch title for your brand new system and all. Well, fast forward to almost a year before the systems have launched, though, and apparently it seems as though the Xbox Series S and X seem to be doing very well for those systems, to be exact. Microsoft's doing very well, especially with Game Pass and all, but right now Halo Infinite is scheduled, supposedly if the rumors are true, for a December release. But apparently we have learned some information that has sort of came out in regards of two modes, though, and possibly one mode, the campaign mode, and why we haven't seen much about this, though. In an article on The Verge, it reads that, quote, Halo Infinite is set to release this holiday season, but at launch, you won't be able to play the campaign mode co-op with your friends, or edit multiplayer maps in Forge mode, developer 343 Industry announced Friday. Here's what they had to say. Quote, when we looked at these two experiences, campaign co-op and Forge, we made the determination that they're just not ready. The head of creative on Halo Infinite sent a video. So we're going to keep the campaign co-op and Forge in the oven for a little bit longer. When they're ready, they're going to be released. We're going to release them as part of our seasonal roadmap next year. 343 Industry is targeting shipping campaign co-op in Season 2 and Forge in Season 3. This person said, the goal is to ship a new season every 3 months, which means campaign co-op will likely be available about 3 months after the launch, while Forge arrives 6 months after launch. Halo campaign co-op and Forge mode are the two of the series' hallmarks, so fans may be disappointed to hear that they won't be available at launch, but 343 is still committed to launching the campaign and Season 1 of multiplayer this holiday season. We'll be talking about the actual release date very soon. Xbox is obviously hosting their event, though. So, anyway, continuing on, it says, the delay to campaign co-op and Forge are the latest for Halo Infinite, which had a bit of a rocky history. The game was originally set to be released alongside the Xbox Series X and S in 2020, but it was delayed to 2021 following a campaign showing the infamous Craig meme. and so this person who was involved in the first Halo games were brought on board shortly after. Meanwhile, in terms of why we haven't seen much of the campaign, though, 343 sort of explained why the campaign, or at least gameplay footage of the campaign, wasn't shown off at Gamescom. And here's what they had to say. Here's a clip of it, though. Quote, explaining why campaign was a no-show, Staten, S-T-A-T-E-N, said the development team is now in shutdown mode, which means work on the game's main feature for launch is finished and the studio is now fixing the highest priority bugs. This is a big job to take a lot of time and resources, and create a new campaign demo or trailer to show off. Campaign would have slowed things down, though. We're spending a lot of time playing the game, verifying fixes, and generally doing all we can to ensure campaign and multiplayer plays great on all platforms, from an original 8-year-old Xbox One to a brand new ultra-spec PC. This is very challenging, even for a large and experienced team. In many ways, shutting down the game is like being on the final approach to landing an airplane. And if you forgive a bit of aviation geekery, the entirety of the team is essentially in a sterilized cockpit, which to say we're at a critical phase in the flight that is Halo Infinite, so it's extremely important to avoid distractions and stay focused on mission critical tasks only. Creating a new Infinite campaign demo or a trailer takes a huge amount of effort to do well. He said, adding that this person also adding that any work on something like that takes cycles away from bugs and other shutdown tasks, though. So obviously, in terms of the 2 modes that won't be available at launch, though, for me, I can understand why not everyone is happy with this, that they don't have these modes available, ready to go at launch, since those are considered very popular modes into the Halo franchise, though. But at the same time, as someone who really focuses on just the campaign, not really on the multiplayer part, it doesn't bother me as much. But I'll admit, though, for diehard Halo fans, that might be a completely different story, so this may be a disappointment to some folks out there. Whether this will have an impact on it or not, that remains to be seen. It may not have any impact at all, and the game might still do well, though, but I can understand why some people might be disappointed in this. As for not seeing any campaign gameplay or anything like that, on one hand, I agree with what the developers are saying, but on the other hand, I can understand why, though. I think for some of us, we would like to see, has there been any major improvements since the last time we've seen the campaign? Because the only footage we have is the infamous campaign that was shown last year, which didn't sit well with everyone out there. So I'm hoping that they showed some gameplay footage of the campaign and more updated of the version soon, though. But I can also understand at the same time that they are trying to hammer out any of the bugs and glitches and want to get the campaign all ready to go when the game launches, though, and that they don't want to create any kind of distraction. So on one hand, I kind of understand why people are kind of a little bit upset that they haven't seen anything with the campaign, but I can understand what the developers are saying. So overall, I have to say the response we're hearing from the developers from Halo Infinite is somewhat mixed. It's not terrible entirely, though, but like I said, I understand why some people may not be happy with this, though. Some people are not happy with the fact that Forge or the co-op campaign will not be available, and I don't completely disagree with why they may not be happy about it, but at the same time, I can also understand if the developers want to take some time to sort of iron out some areas that probably it takes a little bit longer than expected. And while I understand a lot of folks would have liked to see some gameplay footage of the campaign, yours truly as well, I can understand if trying to put up a trailer or anything like that might take time and resources away, as they are trying to sort of address some of these issues for Halo Infinite to get it ready for when it launches during the holidays, assuming it sticks to its launch date, though. So very mixed on their response, though. Basically, I understand what the developers are saying, but I also understand why Halo fans might not be happy with some of the response that the developers are saying at this moment. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, where we talk about what's considered to be one of the most controversial games out there. The Postal series had put out a new teaser trailer, and we're learning that the game is also coming to, believe it or not, the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, although before I get started on that, I do want to point out that there's going to be no video game review this week, though. I forgot to mention that, though, so that's on me, though. I apologize for that. So I'll probably have one next week, but no video game review for this week, though. But anyway, continuing on. For part 2, though, we're going to be taking a look at basically the announcement of what's considered to be one of the most controversial games out there, Postal.to. Now, the video game industry is no stranger to controversy, especially when it comes to controversial games, though. Most people, when they think of the controversial games nowadays, they'll think of something like, say, Hatred. I'm sure most of you have heard of that game. But there have been controversial games back during the 90s that certainly have caught a lot of people's attention. Some of it ranging from the now canceled Thrill Kill to Mortal Kombat, which certainly is probably one of the biggest games that got a lot of attention back in the 90s, and that led to basically the creation of the ESRB, the Entertainment Software Rating Board, though. But one series in particular is also known for this as well, and that is Running with Scissors, Postal. The first one was released originally in 1997, and it basically was for the PC and all that. They did a remix or a redux version that's available on all systems, including the Nintendo Switch. Now, the game is very well known because of a lot of its violent approach in terms of a lot of the content in the game, and some people consider it controversial because it sort of glorifies mass shooting. Others don't exactly see it that way. So it's the kind of game that it depends on what your preference and taste is. The series would also get a sequel with Postal.to, and then of course with Postal 3, but there's sort of the history of sort of a controversy surrounding how that game was developed and all that stuff. And we also know that Postal 4 currently right now is in early access as of right now. Well, recently we learned that basically there's another Postal game in development called Postal Brain Damage, though, and we're learning that it's not only got delayed to next year, though, but it's also coming to the Nintendo Switch, though, as well, which is pretty surprising, at least to me, that is. In an article on Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, Postal caused quite a stir when it was originally released in the 90s on PC, thanks mainly to its super violent storyline and gory visuals. We got a remaster on the game on Switch in 2020, but the next Postal entry is taking a slightly different approach and aims to mimic the gameplay of the classic FPS titles like Doom and Duke Nukem. Running with Scissors, the studio behind the original Postal, has teamed up with Polish outfit Hyper Strange to create Postal Brain Damage, and has published a trailer which pokes fun at Doom Eternal opening cinematic, though. The trailer, which also reveals the fan favorite Corey Cruz, if I'm saying his name correctly, is voicing the Postal dude, is packed with bad language, so we won't enable or put a link, at least according to Nintendo Life, in here, though. But you can head over to YouTube to check it out if you wish. Postal Brain Damage is coming to Switch next year, along with the Xbox and PlayStation version. The PC version will launch, however, also in 2022. And judging by some of the gameplay footage that they showed, a bits of it, and some of the screenshots, it looks like it's definitely a take on basically, like Doom, Duke Nukem, and maybe Wolfenstein to a certain degree, though. I never really thought that I would see a game like that ever on a Nintendo console, though. And it really is sort of interesting to see how far, to some degree, that Nintendo has gotten to allow something like this, not only on the Nintendo Switch, but also the fact that the original Postal has also made its way onto the Nintendo Switch as well. So, to me, it's pretty interesting to see seeing this, which is known for its controversies and all, to make its way over to the other platforms, including the Switch, though. Is it a big deal? To me, no. While I can understand why this game is controversial and why it may not be for everyone, though, I'm not going to be one of those that are going to make a big deal out of it, though. I think that, you know what? As long as the game stays within its rating system, if this is the kind of game the developers running with scissors wants to make, then so be it. As long as it stays within the rating system, that's fine. And companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo can choose whether or not they want a game like this on their system. And judging from what we're hearing, though, it doesn't sound like they're going to say, no, we don't want this game on our system. It looks like they will allow it, though, unlike, say, Hatred, which I remember hearing how the developers claim that they got it right on the Nintendo Switch, and they're supposedly claiming it's still coming to the Nintendo Switch, but we haven't really heard much, at least as far as I'm aware of. Since then, I wonder if maybe Nintendo said no to that kind of game. But in either case, it looks like the game is still planning for next year. It obviously will come to PC first, before basically coming to other systems, though. And if it does well, especially on the Switch, I wonder if this will open the doors to maybe running with scissors to consider the idea of maybe bringing Postal.to over to the Nintendo Switch, to maybe, assuming it gets out of early access, and maybe if it's possible to port it over to Switch, though, maybe Postal 4 in either way. So time will tell if those games will happen, though. But overall, despite it being controversial, though, Postal is another entry in the Postal games coming to the Nintendo Switch under the name of Brain Damage. And while I understand why it's controversial and why it may not be for everyone, though, I honestly am not bothered with this game being on like the Nintendo eShop or anything like that. I view it the same way as I view South Park, though, in general. It's controversial, yes, but there are those who are going to like it, and then there are those who are going to hate it, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with basically Gamescom 2021, what they showed on their so-called opening night, and what Microsoft announced during Gamescom 2021. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, I'm going to be taking a look at Gamescom 2021, particularly both what was shown on its opening night along with Microsoft, though. So obviously Gamescom is kicking off this year, though, and sadly, though, I didn't get a chance to watch at least the opening night and all. Obviously, there are a lot of things I got to deal with, work is being one of those examples, but I did get to read what they were shown on their opening night along with Microsoft. And judging from what I've read so far, while I won't say there were probably some neat announcements, though, but I won't go as far as saying all of it sort of like blew me out of the water or anything like that. In terms of what Microsoft announced, though, what they showed off is basically they showed off some gameplay of Dying Light 2 as their big opener for Gamescom 2021. That's one I probably will keep an eye out on to see how well that one is doing, though. The first one was enjoyable, though, but I will keep an eye and see how Dying Light 2 Stay Human turns out. We also they showed off also Flight Simulator World, which has a 6 update, though. According to what is being said on Game Radar, they said, quote, "There's tons of new stuff heading to Microsoft Flight Simulator on September 7th when World Update 6 arrives. The new content will see big updates to German, Austria, and Switzerland with new aerial maps, improved 3D scans, and 100 of the most famous landmarks added around in various improved areas, though, as well as a bunch of new airports are getting upgraded, like the LUBEC and Stuttgart. And a new local legend is arrived in the shape of the classic 1930 German planes, the Junkers. There's also more stuff to look forward with the big EVTOL air taxi coming in November, and competitive multiplayer arriving in the fall with the Rah-Rah. the Reno Air Racing Association. So those who are fans of Microsoft Flight Simulator may want to consider keeping an eye out on that one. They also announced that for Xbox Game Pass, though, Humble Bundle games will be coming to Xbox Game Pass, which certainly is nice, especially if it's for some of the smaller titles. If you're not sure if you want to pick those up or not, you want to try them out first, though. They also announced Into the Pit, which it's basically, according to Game Radars, it says big Hexen vibe to this retro shooter that sees you fight a range of Doom-like monsters and occult enemies with magic hands. Thinks old school Doom with spells and Chicharo, CTHULHU, as your circle Stafford hordes and fight the evil back. It's a mixture of grim monsters, colorful powers, and big bosses to test your skills, though. They also showed off, ahead of its release for October 28th, Age of Empire, though, although this one's more towards the PC, though. I am curious to see if Microsoft is ever going to bring the Age of Empire maybe over to, say, like, the Xbox Series S and X, though. It will be interesting if they do that, though. But as of right now, this one is more towards the PC side of, Microsoft's, strategy and all. And then, of course, some of the big ones that they announced was basically Xbox Cloud Gaming coming to Xbox Series X and Xbox One. According to the article, it reads, quote, "You're about to cut down on your download times and install size because Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming to Xbox consoles as part of Xbox Game Pass. It'd just be a case of looking for the game on the store and then hitting the play button with the little cloud on it to start playing straight away. It'll also let you play Xbox Series X content on Xbox One with all the same qualities as you expect on the newer hardware too." So this is sort of a neat feature to add to it, and it might be useful for those who maybe want to try out the game first before deciding if it's worth downloading on Game Pass or even buying for that general. So it sounds like a really neat idea, but at the same time, you also have to weigh in, do you have a solid internet connection? Does this take up a bunch of data or anything? So certainly a lot of things to keep an eye out, though, but I could definitely see this working, especially if you have no plans to get a Series S and X and just want to keep your Xbox One. So it's a really neat idea, but there are some caveats to it, though. But nevertheless, like cloud gaming in general, I do see cloud gaming does have potential and all. Anyway, moving on, it does point out to Wasteland 3 DLC, The Cult of the Holy Detention, DETONATION. It says, quote, "There's a new nuclear DLC coming to Wasteland 3 on October 5th with The Cult of the Holy DETONATION. It'll see players battling a cult of devoted bomb-worshipping people who have decided it's their religion duty to detonate a pre-war bomb and share its holy radiation. Microsoft also revealed the Colorado Collection, a special edition of the game bundle in all the DLC so far, arriving at the same time as the DLC. It's also coming to Game Pass, which certainly is nice, though. They talked about that there's going to be a new Sea of Thieves. It's inspired by the Borderlands series, to be exact. It's already out now. It says you'll be able to get the Mayhem ship by taking part in a special event until September 7th. This new boat is Borderlands themed, features that familiar logo on its sail and hard to miss claptrap figurehead. Head to any outpost to start the event and take the step you need to earn and sail the Mayhem. They also showed off trailers for basically State of State-to-Gate Homecoming. They showed off a game called Strayed Blade, which is according to what we're reading, a more colorful Dark Souls, though, or combat-heavy action RPG. They also showed off a bit more of Crusader Kings 3, though, the strategy game that launched at the end of the year PC. They're still saying it's coming to basically the Xbox console at some point in the near future. They're also saying this isn't a direct port of the PC version, but rather a special version that delivers a redefined UI to make it more accessible to console players. They show off the launch trailer for Psychonauts 2, which is already out. They showed off the Gunk, which is made by the development team behind the SteamWorld series. And they closed it off with basically Forza Horizon 5 with 8 minutes of gameplay and a new limited edition controller, which Also, Halo Infinite's getting a new limited edition controller, along with a Xbox Series X Halo Infinite design, although there are reports of scalpers picking up that design and all, which really shouldn't be surprised or anything. But overall, based on what I read so far, I mean, it's not bad. There were some interesting announcements. Dying Light 2, to be exact. Humble Games coming to the Xbox Game Pass, though. Into the Pit sounds interesting. The idea of Xbox Cloud Gaming does sound a little bit interesting for Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One, though. But like anything, cloud gaming, I believe, has potential, but still some issues to address. And Wastelands 3's DLC, that definitely is great for those who are Wastelands fans. Stray Blade, I might want to take a look at on that one. Psychonauts 2, definitely will be keeping an eye on that one. The Gunk, definitely one I would keep an eye out. And Forza Horizon 5, though. So some neat announcements, but I would say not on the level as their E3 presentation, which I thought was really good for Microsoft, though. As for what was shown off at the opening for Gamescom, though, some of the games they announced on their opening night was the rebooted Saints.to, which apparently a lot of people are mixed about this, and I can understand why to some extent, though. For me, I'm going to take sort of a wait-and-see approach on this reboot Saints.to that they are showing off, though. We learned about the developers of XCOM and basically the Civilization series showed off the opening trailer for Marvel's Midnight Sun, which is coming to all consoles, including the Nintendo Switch as well. No word if that's going to be the cloud version or not, but so far the reports seem to indicate that's not the case. I am curious to see how this game is going to play, especially since it's being developed by the same folks who did the XCOM series, though. Hopefully we'll see some gameplay about that soon, though, but supposedly it's set for a March 2022 release. They showed off the trailer for Call of Duty Vanguard. Not really my thing. I hardly pay attention to the Call of Duty series, though. They showed off basically showed off more of the multiplayer for Halo and all, and of course the Xbox Elite wireless controller based off the Halo series, though. They also showed off the games from Cult of the Land from Devolver Digital. I might want to keep an eye out on that one, though. They showed off the trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, this time with April O'Neil being one of the playable characters, which certainly is interesting. It does make you wonder if Casey Jones will be basically one of the playable characters too, but we'll have to wait and see. But that one I'm keeping an eye out for. We learned that a new character will be in the Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, though. This one is Morgana. Basically would be another character from the Persona series. So this one is Morgana, Morgana, will be the character in Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. We also saw a new trailer for Lego Star Wars series called Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. We finally have supposedly a launch date for that one, and that is spring 2022. It's coming to all platforms. Hopefully they could hit the launch date this time around, because I think that game's been delayed for a while, though. We learned about the new Outcast, known as the Outcast Trials. Dookie V they're talking about this being a monster catching game, though maybe on that one, I'm not sure. Far Cry 6, they showed off the new story trailer. Again, maybe, but I'm going to take a wait and see approach on that one. Ubisoft games can be sort of a hit and miss in general. I might wait for a sale if this one enters into a sale or anything like that. Amazon showed off first gameplay of New World, which is coming out September 28th. After its beta during the summer, there will be an open beta for September 9th to 12th. We'll see how well this one does, but let's just say Amazon Game Studios' track record so far has not been, well, that great, to be exact. They showed off Age of Empire 4, which launches on October 28th. I think we talked about that one a little bit. Valheim, Hearts and Homes, they're saying the Norse mythology open world game Valheim, if I'm saying the name correctly, made a big splash when it came out next year after selling when it came out next year after selling more than 7 million copies. The first content update, Hearthstone's home will add balancing changes and improved gameplay, along with adding more to the game when it comes out on September 16th. I might keep an eye on that one, though, maybe. SIFU, the martial action game, comes out February 22nd. Might want to take a look at that one. And last but not least, they showed out Death Stranding Director's Cut, which comes out September 24th to the PS5. It adds even more to the game. There are more options to help carry your load, including a buddy bot that carries you. Players can revisit old boss battles and see how they rank. There's also a new racetrack, more missions, and additional music tracks. So, I mean, some of the stuff opening night they showed off were kind of neat. I mean, Saints Row, again, sort of, I can see why some people are a bit controversial with that one. Marvel's Midnight Sun is one I definitely will be keeping an eye on, as I mentioned, though. And being that it's being developed by the same folks who handled the XCOM series, though. Not really a big fan of, not really big on the multiplayer on that one, but those who are, they showed off a season 1 cinematic intro, though. Cult of the Lamb, I'm probably going to look into that one a little bit more, considering it's from Devolver Digital. Hearing April O'Neil as a playable character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder Revenge, that's certainly nice. So, I mean, some neat announcements, though. Nothing really big that they showed off, but not bad either. So overall, I would have to say this wasn't a bad opening night for Gamescom, nor was it a bad Microsoft presentation at Gamescom or anything like that. It's just nothing really blew me out of the water or anything like that. Like I said, I thought their presentation at E3 was better, in my opinion, though, than here, though. But I won't say it's terrible. I think, but what I've been hearing, a lot of people were kind of disappointed, though. And I will say, the thing is that with some of these presentations, whether it's a Nintendo Direct, Sony's State of Play, or an Xbox Showcase, the thing is you always want to go in with mild expectations, because sometimes these presentations can be good, but there are times when it can also be, well, bad as well. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with new allegations, that Activision and Blizzard is now facing in regard of the lawsuit that they are facing recently. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a new controversy, or at least this one tied to the current controversy that Activision Blizzard is currently facing at this time. Now, I'm sure most of you are probably aware of what Activision Blizzard is going through at this moment. They are facing a lawsuit from the state of California over allegations of how they treat their employees in the workplace, particularly with their female employees in general. Well, now a new story has started to emerge that apparently it seems as though Activision Blizzard may be deliberately trying to destroy evidence, or at least telling employees to talk to them before they talk to investigators and so forth. In an article from The Verge, it reads that, quote, Activision leaders have promised to work to make the company a safe place for women to work, but California has now accused the company of illegally withholding and suppressing evidence and shredding documents that is requested for its investigation via Axums. California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, DFEH, originally filed a suit in July which accused the company of creating a frat-like culture where female employees face constant sexual harassment and discrimination. The updated complaint, they said, can be read below, but here, anyway, there's some of it is some warning that may not sit well with everybody, though. But anyway, according to the report from The Verge, it reads, quote, in the new section of the complaint, The DFEH said Activision Blizzard is encouraging employees to talk to attorneys at William Hale's law firm instead of state investigators, and then denying the state access to the evidence because the conversations was confidential. Activision Blizzard has already been criticized both the company's shareholder and the press for hiring William Hale, a law firm that was widely reported to have helped Amazon initially defeated its workers' effort to organize in Alabama, although I've been hearing they might try again or something like that. William Hale's has now broken its silence to deny any involvement with the effort, and also tells The Verge that it doesn't do work for Amazon or represent the company in any way. The DFEH also claimed Activision Blizzard tried to get employees to sign away their ability to speak freely to investigators in waivers, secret settlements, and non-disclosure agreement (NDAs), which would require employees to notify Activision Blizzard before disclosing information about the incident covered by the NDA or settlements. They will also decide how much employees could freely say, given the company's ability to take all steps it deems to be appropriate to prevent or limit the require disclosure. Activision has promised to try to fix its culture after its initial public response was panned by employees, which would later stage a walkout. In a letter employees published in late July, the company's CEO promised that anyone found to have implemented the integrity of our process for evaluating claims and imposing appropriate consequences will be terminated. The allegation in the updated complaint didn't paint a picture of the company working on fixing the culture, though. For its part, an Activision Blizzard spokesman told IGN the company didn't shred any documents and that it has preserved information related to the DFEH investigation. The complaint has also been updated in several places to clarify that it's not just full-time employees, but also temp and contagious CONTINGENT workers that experience sexual harassment and discrimination, though. So it looks like it's more problems for Activision and Blizzard, though, and this just keeps getting worse and worse for Activision Blizzard in general. And basically, it's going to be really interesting to see if this controversy will spill over to when we get the release of Call of Duty Vanguard. Basically, Call of Duty is Activision's bread and butter, not to mention Activision is pretty much having all its core studios now working on Call of Duty. They might as well just call themselves the Call of Duty development company or something like that. But it's really unfortunate what these employees are going to, and the fact that CEOs didn't really do anything about it instead of just putting money in their pockets. It's really just shameless, though. And my opinion on it has not changed, though, and I really think that the CEO, Bobby Kotick, needs to go. They need to get someone who can actually work with employees and all that stuff, and nor does my opinion change on the fact that I really think employees should consider whether this is the time to unionize or not, though. I think if they want to unionize, this is the right time to do it, to be exact, but ultimately that's going to be their call. But really, if these allegations are true, this is really shame on Activision Blizzard for trying to shred evidence to try to make sure that investigators don't find out. Perhaps maybe there are things that are even worse going on at Activision Blizzard, and it certainly has reinforced why I won't be purchasing games from Activision Blizzard for a while, to be exact. So overall, more bad news for Activision Blizzard. It's going to be really interesting if this will have any impact with the upcoming release of Call of Duty Vanguard, though. But one thing for certain, it just adds more to why people do not like Activision Blizzard in general. Okay, this concludes my quick My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, excuse me, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the decision to delay campaign co-op and Forge, or the edit your multiplayer maps, for Halo Infinite? Do you think this is the right call? Do you not think this is the right call in any way? Do you think this will have a negative impact for when Halo Infinite comes out this year, assuming it hits its launch date? Or do you think it will have really no impact at all? And are you worried about the fact that they're not showing any campaign footage, though, or are you not worried at all? What are your thoughts about the idea of Postal Brain Damage, which will be out next year. Well, first coming to the PC before coming to the PlayStation, Microsoft, and the Nintendo system, though. Are you glad that another Postal game is happening anyway? Are you okay with something like this being on, say, something like the Nintendo Switch? Or you're not really bothered by this at all? And is Postal the kind of series that interests you in any way? Or you don't really pay attention to the series at all? What are your thoughts about the opening night for Gamecom and what Microsoft showed off at Gamescom this year, though? Were you happy with what Microsoft showed off? Were you not happy, though? Were you disappointed in any way? Or you thought, this is okay? What about the opening for Gamescom 2021? What do you think about, let's say, the reboot of Saints.to? Do you like what you see, or do you think you're not really pleased with what they showed off in any way? And were there any other games that they showed up in the opening that interest you at all? And finally, what do you thought about this latest allegations against Activision Blizzard, though? Do you think this just adds more to the problem Activision Blizzard is facing? Has this in any way turned you off of buying Activision Blizzard games at all, especially with the upcoming release of Call of Duty Vanguard? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!